Yo, what is up guys? Welcome to another Wild Rift video, and in today's video I'll be playing Darius in the Baron lane. Now this video was made possible by J-Bone. Thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon, man. I really appreciate it. He requested me to play Darius, so I made a Darius video for him. So the thing about Darius, guys, there is a thing about Darius. He's not broken anymore, but if you are good at Darius, if you really know how to play him, because there are certain things that you now you have to do them because they nerfed Darius. You really have to play him a certain way, like with his ultimate and with his passive. But if you do it perfectly, you can absolutely solo carry games. He's basically like Master Yi, Katarina, Akali, one of these types of champions that can just completely hard carry the game. But okay, more on that later during the gameplay part of the video. There's timestamps in the description if you want to skip to the gameplay immediately. Let's now talk about how to build Darius. I quickly want to show you guys another build that you can go for, which is one of my favorites before talking about the main build, which is this one, the tank build. So you can build Darius as a full tank. I only recommend you to do this if you're against a full attack damage composition. Like, it's true that I have a force of nature here, but I really don't recommend you to build this if the enemy does not have any, if the enemy has ability power too. Because if the enemy is full attack damage, this build is an absolute powerhouse, guys. You just go for the Sunfire Aegis, Bramble fast, and then, like here, you actually don't go for the Starrick's Gauge, you just go for the Randuin's Omen, or you go for the Frozen Heart, or you finish up the Thormill, depending on what you need. You can also get a Guardian Angel because it gives you armor. Just basically you build full armor with a Starrick's Gauge. Make sure you get the Starrick's Gauge because it's really good for the bonus HP. But okay, this build is really good against full attack damage. I actually always recommend you to go for this build if the enemy is full attack damage. And you should also get the armor boots. If the enemy is full attack damage, just go for the armor boots, go for the stone plate, go for full armor, and you're going to be absolutely tanky. And you're also going to do a lot of damage. That's the funny thing too. So this is the normal build. This is basically the carry Darius build. That's what I like to call it. And let's talk about it, okay? So you start with the Trinity Force. This is the main item. This is the core item. This is the item that gives you damage, right? Like, I know other items have damage too, but this is the real deal. Trinity Force, this is where the real damage comes from. Now, you always get the Sheen first, because this is the item that gives you bonus damage on your next basic attack after you use an ability. Always go for Sheen first. Always, no exception. And then you finish off the Trinity Force. Now let me tell you, you're likely not gonna finish this item before the first dragon. That's kind of the weakness of Trinity Force though. The thing is though, you kind of have to split push with this build. You can rotate to the dragon, of course you can. But if the enemy has a Malphite or something, and he already has a Sunfire Aegis for example, I'm just giving an example, he's gonna provide way more value to the dragon fight than you, who only has the components of the Trinity Force, guys. So you have to keep your mind on that. It takes long to buy this item. The power spike, it takes long to get it. It costs 3,533 gold, guys. But once you do get the item, you become hella strong, guys. So for your boots, it completely depends on the enemy. I often go for Mercury Threads because, I don't like to be chain CC'd on Darius because you're not tanky. With this build, you're not tanky, right? So being chain CC'd is going to get you killed. So Mercury Threads is often going to be the best item. If you still feel like you need plated steel caps to armor, even though if the enemy has some ability power, get the plated steel caps. But I don't really recommend it. I just recommend you to get Mercury Threads. These are often going to be the best item, like really often. And for your second item, it's situational. I generally go for Starrick's Gauge because it's really good. It fits the Trinity Force too, because Trinity Force gives you 200 bonus max health, and then Starrick's Gauge as well. It's really good as a second item. It buys you a lot of time. Death Stance could also be a good second item. The thing with Death Stance is, if the enemy does not have anti-heal, Death Stance is really good because it gives you 10% physical vampirism, and if the enemy has a lot of burst heavy champions like Katarina or Evelyn, things like that, then you should also go for the Death Stance second item because it's gonna delay the burst. It's gonna buy you time. So if the enemy either doesn't have any anti-healing, which is likely not gonna happen, or if the enemy has a lot of burst heavy champions, which is gonna happen, you build the Death Stance second item, guys. Second item. Otherwise, just get the Starrick's Gauge. It's like a safe item. Starrick's Gauge is always gonna be good on Darius. Now for your third item, again, here you have to decide. Does the enemy have a lot of anti-heal, or do they have a lot of... if they have a lot of anti-heal, you go for the Guardian Angel. And if they have a lot of no, there's so many things that you go. That's the thing, like it already becomes situational. Guardian Angel is what I generally would go, but Death's Dance is also really good. Death's Dance is if you want to catch up to an enemy. This one is going to be really good because you're going to slow the enemy when you hit it, and you're going to get bonus movement speed. Death's Dance is good against burst damage. Guardian Angel is good if you need a Guardian Angel, especially against Katarinas, guys. It's really good against Katarinas because you're not gonna give them resets. You can also go for the Mothmore Morses if they have a lot of ability power. There's just so much that you can do. You can even go for a Blade of the Rune King, guys. When do you go for the Blade of the Rune King? If the enemy has a lot of tanks. If you're like against Garen, Alistar support, a full tank Jarvan jungle, you can genuinely go for a Blade of the Rune King, third item. You're gonna be pretty squishy, but you're gonna be able to shred through the tanks with this item. Like if you go for a build like this, you are really going all in for the damage. You really like, and the thing is, you should only do this if the enemy doesn't have a lot of burst damage, which they won't have if they have like 3 tanks, right? That's kind of the point of building Blade of the Rune King. But this almost never happens. Like you're almost never up against like 3 or 4 tanks. It almost never happens. So this is generally what you want to go for. Guardian Angel, it's situational, you know, just go for whichever item you need. I really cannot tell you which one is the best because there are several ones that are good. Force of Nature, also good if the enemy has a lot of magic damage. Spirit Visage, also good if your team has an enchanter support like Nami, Soraka, you know, a support that can heal you, because it also works with the heal of your first ability. You know, it's situational. You can always go for these 2 items first on Darius, but then after that, you really have to look at which item you need, guys. That's the thing with Darius. For your enchantments, by the way, you can go for different ones. Protobelt to surprise the enemy. Glorious Enchant to be able to catch up to the enemy from super far away. Go for this one if the enemy is really fast, like if they have a Janna, or enemy with a lot of mobility, not only fast, just a lot of mobility. If the enemy has a lot of dashes to run away, generally just against enemies with mobility who can run away from you, you go for the Glorious Enchant. You can also go for the Stone Plate. I don't really recommend it with this build because it's going to reduce your damage, but Stone Plate can be good to build up your stacks. You can go for Stasis Enchant against Zed, Fizz, champions like that. I don't really recommend it only against champions like Zed and Fizz, guys. But you can also go for Teleport. Go for the Teleport if you want to be split pushing and teleporting around in the map. For the runes, Conqueror. Generally, I would always go for Conqueror. Now, the thing is, you can also go for Fleet Footwork, and I really recommend, if you're like a bad Darius player or not super good yet, you should definitely go for Fleet Footwork against hard matchups like Teemo, like Vayne. I will be playing against the Teemo today, by the way. That's gonna be interesting. So if you're against a hard matchup, I recommend you to go for Fleet Footwork. I just don't do it because I feel like I don't need it. I can just play safe. Because you can also hit your first ability and heal up with it. But you know, if you feel like you need a Fleet Footwork, go for it. It's definitely not bad. Keep that in mind. But otherwise, just go for Conqueror. For my second rune, always Triumph. I never ever go for any other rune than Triumph. This is also because of my playstyle. Because when you kill an enemy in a teamfight, it's gonna heal you up, right? And it also deals 3% more damage to enemies below 35% health, allowing you to execute them more easily with your ultimate. This one is an absolute banger on Darius, guys. When you get to like 15% HP or something and they almost kill you, and you finish off an enemy with your ultimate and get your full stacks, not only are you gonna get your full stacks, you're also gonna heal up 10% of your missing HP. Which is going to allow you to tank up like 2 more basic attacks, and that's already enough time to kill another enemy and heal up again. That's the power of Triumph, guys. Really, really good rune. For your third rune, generally Hunter Titan. This one is just, you're really going to need this one in the late game, because getting Chain CC'd on Darius with the build that I just gave you is going to be your death. It's going to be your ultimate demise. So going for Hunter Titan is going to be really, really good. You can go for Adaptive Carapace if you just want to really win the early game, but then you have to go for Mercury's Threats. Make sure you buy Mercury's Threats if you do not go for the Hunter Titan, guys. For your fourth rune, Sweet Tooth, because Sweet Tooth is broken. This part is really easy. I really love it. And for your spells, you go for the Flash, always. And then for your second spell, you can either go for Barrier. I really like Barrier on Darius because it buys you time, which is really good for your passive, right? Like you can hit more basic attacks and get your passive out faster. You can go Ignite, although I don't recommend Ignite because, as I said, Barrier can buy you that time that you need to stack up your passive. But you can also go for Ghost. Go for Ghost again if you feel like you want to be super duper fast and you know, just catch up to enemies very easily. This one is really underrated, guys. But generally, barrier. I really like barrier. So that was it about the build. Let's now get into the gameplay. All right, on to the gameplay. So yeah, here I asked the Akali if I could go mid. Why do you guys think? Because I'm against the Teemo, man. Oh no, this Teemo is the single worst matchup you could ever be against as a Darius. Never ever pick Darius against Teemo, guys. Like, Teemo can just you literally cannot do anything against the Teemo. Unless you really play it perfectly and catch him off guard. Like, okay, this video is really good because I can teach you how to play Darius against a rough matchup. You know, I have many Darius videos where I'm against a normal matchup like Malphite, Garen, Camille, you know, where you can just play the lane normally. But in this game, as you can see, I'm against a Teemo. So let's take a look at how I play this lane. You can already see, look at this damage. I'm already at 70% HP. So look at what I'm doing. So this is not good. This was a mistake. What I should have done here is I should have just let the minion go and only take gold. Here, this was good. See how I'm farming, guys? Whenever I see a minion and whenever I see that the Teemo is likely not gonna hit me, I just go in, hit my first ability on the minion and I take the full gold, right? Here you can see what you should do. Here, look at this. See how I'm playing the lane? Boom. Just like that. So I'm not going for a minion with a basic attack because I will get damaged by the Teemo really hard. It's just not worth it. What I am doing is I'm going for my first ability. Here, take a look at this. Minions are getting low. Boom. This was even bonus points, by the way, if you can also hit the enemy. Take a look at this. How did I kill him, you may think? How the hell did I kill him? Let me explain. So I cleared out 2 of his minions, 2 of the frontlining minions, and my wave was pretty stacked. So and I also hit the Teemo with my first ability, by the way. So that was already really good. It was a good setup. But then what the Teemo did was a mistake. He started attacking me with minions around me. My minions were all around me. So I thought, hey, he's attacking me. My minions are gonna get real mad at him. They're gonna hit him, right? So what I decided to do then is hook him. I hooked him under my minions and I slowed him. He had to instantly flash away to even have a chance to survive that, but he was too late. And then after he flashed away, he already took so much damage from my minions. The majority of the damage came from my minions, by the way, guys. And after that, of course, I flash on him and I kill him. Easy peasy. It's very, well, it's not easy. I just capitalized on his mistake. But as I said, against these hard matchups like Teemo, like Vayne, like Riven, you know, these annoying champions, you have to play like that. But right now you can see I killed him once. Now I can play a bit more aggressive, just a bit, but you can still see that it's really hard. So I used my ultimate here because otherwise he was likely gonna kill me. I had to use my ultimate there to push him away. You can see you really cannot overextend against champions like that. So look at the minimap, guys. Look at the minimap. You see the Teemo over there? Do you guys see him? Look at him, look at him, look at him. Look at him. He thinks he can kill me, look. He's going invisible and he was gonna kill me. But no, I run away. You have to be wary of Teemos, guys. They can just become invisible and absolutely smash you. Really be careful of that. So, I talked earlier on in the video about how you have to play Darius. Because, you know, they nerfed him. And now it's not like easy game anymore, you know. Remember when Darius was so broken where you were just easily able to stack his passive up? Not anymore. They nerfed his HP, they nerfed his passive damage by a lot, by so much. It's crazy by how much. And now you really have to play him to his win conditions. So what are his win conditions? First of all, in the Baron lane, in your laning matchup, there is a certain combo that's really gonna allow you to out-trade enemies in the short term, which is you hook the enemy, basic attack, second ability, you do your second ability right after your basic attack, and then you do your first ability. Here, just like that. I hook him, basic attack, second ability, and then you can add your first ability to it as well. And by the way, while you have to listen very carefully now because this is a bit more advanced what I'm gonna talk about. So, you hook the enemy. Oh, let's take a look at this fight first, before talking about that. This is so clean. This fight was really, really clean. Slow him. First. Oh. He dodged it really, really well. Eee! Oh, I'm alive. I'm alive. I just died from this stupid Luden's Echo from Ari. That was the most beautiful escape you could ever see, and I just died from Luden's Echo. But okay, what was I talking about? What was I talking about? Oh yeah, about the combo. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying the video, give it a like. You know, it really helps the channel. And yeah, let me now tell you about the combo. So you hook the enemy, basic attack, second ability. But after that, you have options with your first ability. It's not like you just use your first ability. Because, okay, I'm gonna try to make this real simple. You have the outer layer of your first ability, right? You guys understand that. You know, the first ability, you have the inner layer, and then the outer layer, which is a bit smaller. It's like a bit smaller, right? However, this small radius still means, really listen carefully, even if you hit the enemy all the way here or here, you're still gonna hit them. So what does that mean? Like, here, you see that? You see that? I should pause the video when I use my first ability. Wait, let me actually try. Wow, okay, that was really fast. Ah, come on. I just want to pause the video so I can actually show you what I'm talking about, so I can make it a bit easier. Ah, Jesus, man, how hard is this? Okay, pause it yourself. Please pause the video yourself if you want to see it. You're gonna see the outer layer here. It's like, you know, you see it here. It's pretty wide. So what does this mean? After you hook the enemy basic attack second ability, you can either use your first ability aggressively or passively. Now this is very important. The way that you want to use it passively is you hook enemy basic attack second ability and then you proc your first ability, but you run back. What's gonna happen is while you're running back, you're gonna hit the enemy all the way on the outer half. All the way there, and you're gonna be able to run away easily, right? And this is actually quite significant because the enemy is not gonna be able to reach you anymore. Oh, here I saw the Teemo in the sweeper and I actually hooked him out of nowhere. I saw him in the sweeper, which is really, really nice. If you want to play it aggressively, what you can do is you hook the enemy basic attack second ability, and then instead of walking backwards, what you do is you walk forwards. But you have to walk a bit diagonally because otherwise you're obviously going to miss your first ability. So you walk forwards a bit diagonally and you're going to hit your first ability. And what's going to happen then after you hit your first ability, you're going to be right next to the enemy. So you can hit another basic attack. And if that happens, you're going to have 4 stacks. And of course, what does that mean? You only need 1 more basic attack to proc your full stacks. I really, really hope that I made this as simple as I could. Because like, this is a thing that I've never explained in my Darius videos before. But I really want to be explaining these more advanced things as well. Just like that, see that, see that, see that. You should rewind that part. Oh, you should rewind that part. That was exactly the aggressive way. Did you see that? So if you really want to learn Darius, you should rewind right now and see what I did to that Teemo. I hooked him, basic attack, second ability, and then did you see how I used my first ability? I walked diagonally forward and I was right next to the Teemo, so I could easily use my ultimate on them. Oh, that was the perfect example. You should really rewind the video and check that out, because that's the aggressive way of doing this combo, by the way. So the passive way is easy to understand, you run away, but that was the aggressive way, guys. Really, you should really rewind. So, okay. How do you fight? How do you team fight with Darius? That's a question that I get quite often in my comments, right? Because on Darius, we all know that on Darius, it's all about the stacks, blah, blah, blah. You should get your full stacks and use your ultimate. Here, the aggressive way. Again, did you see that? That was the aggressive way. So, when you play Darius with this build, with the damage build, you generally don't want to be the initiator. Like, unless you're super ahead. Like, if you're super ahead, you can be the initiator. But in a 5 versus 5 situation, you kind of want one of your teammates at least to go in. And what you do then is you just want to stack up. You want to find a vulnerable target, The best thing would be an immobile target, like a target that cannot run away from you. For example, the perfect example is an Alistar after he does his engage with his second ability. Because he's gonna be 3 stacks for you. An Alistar after he does this engage, right? Oh my god, that was good. So after an Alistar dives in, or after a Camille uses her hook shot, for example, or after a Leona uses her third ability, that's how you have to decide who you're gonna go on, guys. That's how you have to decide it. What was I talking about? Yeah, and after you go on that vulnerable target, just stack up. You should honestly not worry about killing the squishy target of the enemy. You should only worry about getting your stacks, because when you do get your stacks, you're literally gonna wipe the entire enemy team. That's how Darius works. Getting your stacks means wiping the entire enemy team. Another way to get your stacks is finding an enemy champion that is pretty low, especially squishies. Like for example, if the enemy Ezreal is at 50% HP in a team fight, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flash after him. I'm literally gonna flash after him. Of course, after he uses his third ability, and then I'm gonna hook him in. Here, look at this. I procced my ultimate. This, like, after you proc your ultimate, you kill everyone. That's how it works. Boom. Again. This is literally how it works. I hit my ultimate, boom, another kill. Hit another attack, boom, another kill. Didn't I just talk about it? All you gotta do with Darius, and I know I'm making it sound simpler than it is get your stacks. And there is 2 ways to do that. To hit an enemy 5 times with your basic attacks and abilities, or to kill an enemy with your ultimate. These are the 2 ways. So here you can see I'm going on a vulnerable target, easy kill with my ultimate, but one of my allies took the kill unfortunately. So yes, it's definitely not easy, guys. It's definitely not easy because your allies are also going to be stealing your kills, right? And the thing with Darius is as well, when you get ahead in a game, you can very easily absolutely dominate the game. Like, oh, here you can see Mercury's threats in action. You see how important Mercury's threats are? Ari just charmed me, but because of my Mercury's threats and Hunter Titan, I have Mercury's threats and Hunter Titan, by the way. The charm was only like, what, 0.7 seconds or something? Boom, 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 boom. Oh, I canceled a basic attack. Here you can see how hard you can get punished when you play Darius if you actually fail. Because, okay, so